Hey, it's Daily B 53. Wow, 53. My gosh, these numbers are starting to pile up. This is awesome. All right, what am I talking about? I'm talking about today, don't disrespect your gifts. Do not disrespect your gifts. All right, so this is Brian Wright from BrianWright732.com, and I am here to talk about your gifts. So, what makes you put, the gifts in perspective, and what are the gifts and all that kind of stuff? I'm just going to say two things to start it off, and one is Vince Lombardi said it best. Excuse me. Vince Lombardi he said, "Play every play like it's your last play." Now, what he meant by that was you never know which play could actually be your last play. He was talking about football, and football is a very big contact sport, and you never know when injury is going to come in and whatnot, and you don't know which play is going to be your last. And then the reality of that sets in today's day, is that I have a fighter named Carl Roberson that trains with me. He's fighting in Glory Kickboxing, which is the premier kickboxing organization on the planet. This is a very big thing. He's 25 years old, came out of nowhere. Had a really good fight in France last summer. Gets picked up by Glory, gets a good contract. Everything's going great. And then last week we're sparring. Not we, because I don't let Carl hit me, because Carl hits very hard. He's sparring, and I'm coaching, because that's what I do. I'm a coach. And his arm started to bother him, and he was like, "Yo, my arm's bugging me." I was like, "You want to stop?" He said, "No." It's like, "Let's keep going." And so he keeps going, but then it really gets bad, and we look, and he's got like a hole starting to develop in his bicep, and it's like, uh-oh, we have a problem here. So it doesn't get better. Send him to the doctor, get an MRI, and we find out torn bicep. Probably 6 months realistically of downtime, because he's going to have to get surgery to reconnect the muscle, and then it's going to be healing time and then rehabilitation and all that. So realistically 9 months to a year before this kid's going to be able to fight again. So 25 years old, in the middle of a career, it's his only occupation. What do you do? He's got a kid, he's got responsibilities. He's going to have to work. He's going to have to do different things for the next year. It sucks, but it is what it is. So what am I talking about with all this? Horror story, sad story? No. What I'm talking about is that if you're fortunate enough to be introspective enough to know who you are and to recognize what your actual gifts are, you've got to appreciate those gifts, because no matter who we are, no matter what gifts we have, we don't know how long we're going to be able to use them. So if you're not showing up early and staying late and maximizing everything within your lane of strength, you're just disrespecting the gifts. You're disrespecting what you were born with. You're disrespecting probably what you were born to do, depending upon what your belief system is. But all of us have this sense. If you're quiet with yourself long enough, you're going to connect with this spot where you're going to see exactly who you are. You're going to understand what it is you really want, and you're going to understand what your best tools are to get that. Everyone looks for answers on the outside, but the reality of it's inside. It's really in there. You've got a true understanding of who you are and what you want. You just have to strip away all the distractions and look at it. And if you're fortunate enough to take the time to figure that out, don't disrespect what you find. You have no idea the level of satisfaction that you can have by living according to your own plan, according to your own gifts, according to the benefits and the rewards of working with your own hands in a way that you choose. If you have the ability to do that, again, show up early, stay late, throw everything you've got into it, because you don't know how long your life's going to be. You don't know how many opportunities you're going to have, and you don't know how long the good fortune of being able to do these things is going to last. God, it's like the doom and gloom story day. But the whole thing is, you have to have not a negative side, but you have to have, a downward story to understand the opportunity that we've got, or to put things in perspective at times. So my stepfather, he was a really good guy, and he was a really gifted and talented guy, and he put his entire life into his work, and he loved his work, and he was very good at his work. But then he started to have other dreams and aspirations, because he was a very creative person. He liked to build, he liked the arts. He liked to travel. He liked a lot of things. And he said, I'm going to work, and then when I'm done with working, I'm going to go and do these things. But the unfortunate scenario for him is that he was hit with Parkinson's syndrome, and he died in his 60s, and he never was afforded the opportunity to retire and then to take all that wealth that he accumulated and to use it as he planned. So he gambled a lot of his todays for a tomorrow that actually was never allowed to come for him, which is really unfortunate because he was a truly special person. But again, it doesn't matter how special you are. It doesn't matter what kind of plans you've got. Sometimes life just steps in and it has its own plan for you, and you've got to roll and you've got to adjust. So, you could be a 25-year-old athlete with a torn bicep who has to sit on the bench for a year. You can be, a guy who ends up getting really sick and doesn't have as long of a life as he thought, whatever. There's a lot of things that can come your way that can derail you from what you thought things were going to be. And quite honestly, something will come along that's going to derail you from your plans, because that's just life. It's very rare that you find somebody that said, okay, this is how I want to work out, and that's how it did. The timeline is not in our control. The random factor of things is not in our control. So the best thing we can do is be our authentic self, our connected self, doing the things which we were born to do as much as we possibly can. And that's really our gift. That's really our gift to the world. That's the world's gift to us. It's the whole thing. So don't disrespect your gifts. Don't disrespect the moment, because it's really all we know we've got. Don't disrespect the things you want to do. Don't sacrifice today for tomorrow. And I'm not saying live, carefree. I'm saying be responsible. Live in a way that if you look back, you're not going to regret. It's not a living without regrets in terms of like an FU, I'm going to just do whatever. It's live responsibly, live according to your plan, and be respectful of the gifts that you were born with. Don't go and live someone else's life. Live your life. That's the point. I speak primarily as a business vlog here, but business and life really are the same things because we're humans and it's what we do. And we tend to spend more time in our business than we do on anything else, which is not necessarily a sad reality. It's just a reality. And by spending time in our business, we're actually spending time with people, creating opportunities, creating security, creating wealth. Business is a good thing. Our work is a good thing. The actions we take in our work define us in many, many ways. The actions we take in our personal life define us in all the other ways. So, we are a personal and professional being, which is one thing. So when you look at all of this and opportunity in life and living your passions and all of these things, it's very important that you understand that you can't separate your work and your personal life in terms of defining who you are. They both define who you are. If you're a dick at work and you're a nice guy at home, you're still a dick. So whatever you operate on is at the lowest common denominator is what you're being judged, not at your best. You could be a world champion at something, but you're a scumbag outside of the ring. So are you a world champion or are you a scumbag? You're both, but you're really a scumbag is what your ultimate judgment is going to come off of. So if you're not embracing who you are and your talents and living according to them, you're not going to be judged by the false life you're creating in somebody else's path. If you're making someone else happy and not yourself, you're not going to be judged by the happiness you're providing, because you're not really providing happiness for another person by following their path. You're just creating misery for yourself. Follow your path. Understand who you are. Go into it. Show up early, stay late. I'll say it over and over and over again. Every champion I've ever trained was the guy who got there before me and the guy I basically had to kick out of the room. The guy who was always doing too much. There's really never too much. But the guy who I had to stop because their drive and their understanding of what they wanted and their appreciation for the gifts of the opportunity and their physical abilities, just drove them. And it, made them be able to do things that made them, look superhuman to the average person who's not used to pushing. When you're connected, you're energized, you get momentum, and you go. So that's the message of the day. I want you to really just take the time to look inside and say, this is who I am, this is what I want, and then start working towards it You don't have to quit your job. You don't have to leave everything you've got behind, but you've got to start chipping away at the things you don't like or you don't want. You have to still fulfill your responsibilities. You have to continue to maintain your relationships, but you have to start pivoting towards the direction you were born to be going instead of the one that society kind of forced you into. And again, remember, I say this a lot. Where you are right now is completely 100% up to you. It's your situation that got you. I want to say fault, but I don't want to say fault because I don't really think anybody's in a bad spot, because as long as you're learning and progressing, everything's cool. You may not be happy where you are, but as long as you're learning, you're good. So I don't want to say fault like it's bad or a blame stitch. But you've got to take responsibility for who you are, what you are, and where you are, period. Because I was talking about how society kind of got you in this other path, but society didn't get you into that path. It was your reaction to what society said that did. It could have been your inexperience. It could have been your conditioning. It could be a lot of things. Okay? Don't blame. Don't judge. Just acknowledge. Acknowledge. Say, oh, yeah, okay. I could have gone this way, but I went that way. I should have gone that way. Well, fuck. Go that way now. Slowly start veering in that direction. That's all you have to do. You just have to wake up. Wake up to your reality. And then start moving in the direction that you want to be. You don't have to say screw everything and blow up everything you've ever done or hate yourself for where you are. Because again, there's no judgment on this. It's life. It is what it is. The judgment comes at the end, guys. It just comes at the end. Don't judge yourself right now. Just hold yourself accountable and wake up to the realities of things. So I'm going to leave it on this. So I read the Tibetan book of Living and Dying, and I'm probably paraphrasing it. But here's the thing. I took from this, the 2 points I took from it was that when you pass, if you believe in some kind of afterlife and some kind of supreme being, you don't have to. You can be an atheist, be an agnostic, be whatever the hell you want. I'm not even going to tell you what I am. But if you go to the next level and there's something there, it's not like you're going to court and you can defend yourself. It's going to know all the answers. It knows everything you've done, everything you've said, everything you've thought. It's all there for judgment. So that's one. So 2, the reality of good and bad. No matter what horrific circumstance you find yourself in, the only way it'll be bad is if you don't learn and you don't create a better tomorrow based on the information from today. So we are only judged by what we do with our experience. We're not judged because of our experience. It's what we create from it. So you may have done things that are not in line with your value system in the past. But if they motivated you to reconnect with your value system and be better today, it's no longer a bad act. It was a good thing. It was a motivating thing. It was the energy you needed. It was the information and the experience you needed to create who you are today. And if you're good today, if you're better today, if you're moving forward today, you're good. You are not going to be judged by your past if it made you better today. It's what you do with it, okay? If you want to take your past and put it around your neck like a weight and drown yourself, you're a failure. But if you're going to take your past failures, missteps, mistakes, bad situations, and use them to create a rock-solid foundation to create a better today, which will make an even more amazing tomorrow, you're good. Stop fucking judging yourself by all that crap in the past. Learn from it, move forward, smile, be happy. Someone challenges you for shit you did, all you got to say is, yeah, I did it, but here I am. Okay? I tell people all the time, I'm a reformed asshole. I'm probably still an asshole, but I was a really big asshole before. But I learned, I woke up one day and I was like, why the hell am I being such an asshole? And it made me be better. That's it. I own my shit. Call me out on anything I've done in the past. I am so fine with it. You can't embarrass me with a thing. Not one thing I've done in the past can you embarrass me by, because I'm good. I'm sitting here talking to you. I've got an amazing wife. I've got an amazing son. I have an amazing fucking life. So nothing you can say will chip away at what I've got. Period. I'm not done. I still have things I want to do, but I'm good because of my past. So I was supposed to wrap it up with those 2 things. I went off a little bit more. This is going a little long today, so I'm going to cut it here. But look, don't disrespect your gifts. Show up early, stay late, figure your shit out, start moving back in the direction of where you should be. It's you. That's what matters. If you can't be your authentic you can't be the best thing that everyone else needs. Simple as that. All right. Have a good day.